My name is James J. Dillon, but there's no need for me to introduce myself. It hasn't been that long. You people know who I am. But more important, standing beside me is the all-Asian champion and the greatest attraction in professional wrestling today. And I want to issue fair warning to the wrestling fans and the wrestlers in particular in the Metroplex that I am preparing an onslaught into this area. You people may not like me, but you have to admit that what I tell you is the truth. And you are about to see something more devastating than anything than you have ever seen in the past. And I will go so far as to say something more devastating than anything that you can even imagine. And if there's the slightest doubt in your mind or anyone else's, I want you to focus your eyes on the television screen, because you are about to see the greatest attraction in professional wrestling today. The wild man from the Sudan, remember the name, Abdullah the Butcher. The Butcher, the Butcher.
The scene is Tokyo, Japan. Abdullah the Butcher, the wild man from the African Sudan, meeting Kim Il, one of the greatest wrestlers ever to come out of Korea. The scene is the Sumo Hall in Tokyo, Japan, to a capacity crowd. Kim Il, a man whose reputation is known throughout the Orient, throughout the world. His appearances in the United States have been limited, but the wrestling fans in the Orient certainly know who he is, and he has one of the most vicious, devastating headbutts in all of wrestling. In fact, he has been nicknamed Hardhead. You can see from his ear he's a veteran of many years' experience. The referee, Joe Higuchi, one of the top wrestlers and wrestling referees in the Orient. And as you can see, there's no holding back in this match. Let's go right to it. And Kim Il, known for his headbutt, is going right to the aggressive with his foremost weapon, headbutts right from the beginning to try and stop the wild man Abdullah the Butcher, because his reputation is known not only throughout the Orient but throughout the world, including Korea. And at this point, Kim Il hopes to make short work of Abdullah the Butcher, but as we are about to see, he's got a long, hard road to hoe if he ever hopes to stop the Sudanese wild man. Referee Joe Higuchi realizes the importance of this match. He's making every effort to try and maintain control. Certainly not an easy task. As you can see, all of the other young wrestlers, Japanese wrestlers, are there at ringside. The interest very, very high in this match. Abdullah the Butcher down on the canvas for one of the very, very few times that I've ever even seen him off his feet. Certainly a tribute to the power of Kim Il. But believe me, this match is far from being over at this point. The camera moves to the floor to pick up the action as referee Joe Higuchi tries to get the contestants back into the ring. As you can see at this point, Abdullah the Butcher has been injured, but he's a man that has a very high tolerance of pain. He does not understand the word pain. He only knows that he is to come forward. At this point, I had moved away from ringside. I was standing up in the press box, having a press conference with the reporters from all over the world there to cover this very, very important match. Abdullah the Butcher, the champion of the Southern Hemisphere, recognized throughout all of Asia, throughout Korea, throughout Japan, and Kim Il coming to the Sumo Hall in Tokyo to challenge Abdullah the Butcher. And as we can see, Kim Il certainly came to fight. But Abdullah the Butcher is very, very sly, very cagey, 308 pounds. As I said, his tolerance for pain, very, very high. And now the table is about to be turned, because the Sudanese wild man has a headbutt of his own. And now it has become the battle of the headbutts. And immediately you can see that Kim Il has also suffered a head wound at this point, and now it's going to be Which man can sustain the punishment the longest? Which man is going to be able to take it? Which man is going to be able to back down? Which man is going to quit? At this point, in all honesty, it seems to be a toss-up. Now Abdullah the Butcher has thrown Kimmel out onto the floor of the sumo hall. Referee Joe Higuchi at this point again attempting to restrain order. Because of the importance of this match, he has not stopped it at this point, even though both contestants are fighting on the floor. This match is so important. The sumo hall is filled to capacity. As you can see into the far background, the bleachers are jammed. Referee Joe Higuchi doing everything in his power, trying to restrain order, trying to get this match back into the ring. Now both men fighting out onto the floor, out into the crowd. You can see the Japanese fans scattering. Neither man at this point really backing up. A tribute certainly to the ability of Kimmel, but certainly a fighting champion, Abdullah the Butcher, the Southern Hemisphere champion. The championship at stake, and Abdullah the Butcher at this point not about to give in, not about to quit. Stalking him is Kimmel, but Abdullah the Butcher ever ready. And again they tackle into each other onto the floor of the arena. At this point, the match has gotten out of hand. Both men severely injured at this point, both men on the point of exhaustion, and yet because of the importance of this match, it continues. The young Japanese wrestlers at this point trying to keep the crowd back. Referee Joe Higuchi trying to step in there, looking about for help. Referee at this point is lost. He's done everything in his power to try and maintain order. Apparently, nothing at this point has worked. Abdullah the Butcher has now gotten Kimmel down onto the mat. Referee Higuchi pleading with the man to back up, to let the man up. I'm afraid at this point, the match is over. Both men severely injured. Referee Joe Higuchi bumped in the conflict, as at this point it's gone beyond the championship. It's a matter of pride at this point, and Abdullah the Butcher has gone wild. He has gone crazy. A man very, very hard to control has gone out of control, and you can see what devastation, you can see what destruction is involved when a man like Abdullah the Butcher loses that edge of control. Referee Joe Higuchi, the other wrestlers at this point, attempting to pry the men apart. The match is over. The match has gotten out of hand. Referee Joe Higuchi has stopped the match, but both men at this point not about to quit. This is just a preview of what is about to come. Abdullah the Butcher about to invade the United States. Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, Amarillo, Odessa, Lubbock, Texas, the entire Southwest, the entire United States are about to be the running grounds of Abdullah the Butcher. Let this serve as a warning. Stay out of the way of Abdullah the Butcher. You have seen him in action. Remember the name. The wild man from the African Sudan. The greatest attraction in professional wrestling today. The most devastating thing that you have ever seen. The most devastating thing that you will ever see. Remember the name. Abdullah the Butcher. The Butcher. The Butcher. The Butcher is coming.